on. Let me put my Mackin music on, y'all. All right, y'all. Anyway, today's show is going to be a doozy. We're going to chop up some good game. Had a lot of music going on at the same time right there, but it's all good. We're here. We're where we need to be. I want to talk about the concept of pet niggas. And I want to talk about this because I just did an interview with CNN talking about the Sandra Bullock adoption, and there was a whole thing. I'm getting a lot of flack because of the interview I did and because of a YouTube video I posted up. There was a little controversy about the adoption that Sandra Bullock had. She has, for those who don't know, Sandra Bullock, the actress, she adopted a black baby out of New Orleans named Louis. And some people think that it's a PR move. But I just want to talk about the concept of whites having blacks as pets. And the whole concept of pet niggas. Because that's what it looks like a lot of times when you have a lot of these celebrities. They adopt these black children. They go to Africa. And the question has always been an underlying theme. Are these people genuinely concerned about the welfare of these kids, or are they just getting them because it's trendy? And if that's the case, are these black people used as pet niggas? See, the concept of pet niggas has been around for a long time. Pet niggas were black people who were generally accepted in areas or neighborhoods or communities that generally did not accept blacks as a whole. So what they would do, they would pick and choose certain blacks and have them as their pet niggas. So that's a phenomenon that's been going on since Reconstruction period after slavery. That's been going on for a long time. It was really prevalent in the Jim Crow era in the United States, the whole pet nigga phenomenon, because this is when everything was very segregated. And again, they would let one or two blacks through. They would like let a maid in, or they would have an old janitor, or they might have a child. But it was usually a pet nigga would usually be someone who was docile, somebody who was non-threatening in many cases, somebody who was considered simple-minded or feeble-minded or not sexually aggressive. The black person had to be non-threatening. That's why it was either an older person or a very small child. And if it was a person who was a late teen or an adult, they had to be somewhat simple-minded. See, the thing is, for years, and I've talked about this on my recent pay-per-view special called Black Secret Societies, there have always been wealthy whites that have used disenfranchised blacks to make themselves look more liberal. They've always become philanthropists and donated money to so-called black causes, to the disenfranchised black community, to make themselves look better. This started with the Rockefeller family and the Vanderbilts after slavery, because these people were known criminals. These people were running criminal enterprises, and the public knew this, so they had to clean up their images. So they didn't have to, but they chose to use donating money to black causes as a way to win favor with the public, as a way to garnish sympathy for themselves and to make themselves look like saviors. They funded schools and all this stuff. So that's been a big trend with wealthy whites, and it's a big trend in Hollywood now. Like I said, that's the whole thing in Hollywood. We see it all the time. We see so many celebrities going over to Africa, getting African children. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me say this. There's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of people will say to me, well, hey, what's wrong with a child having a good future? What's wrong with the child getting a wealthy family to adopt them? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that part of it at all. But let's understand the hustle. It is a PR move for the most part. That's my whole argument. My argument is that, okay, it's a good thing. That's great. But it's a PR move. A lot of these celebrities and so-called philanthropists, they're not doing it for selfless reasons. They get something out of it. They get good promotion. They get good publicity out of it. It liberalizes their image. And that's really why a lot of them do this. Because if you notice, whenever these white celebrities, when they go to Africa, they go to the dustiest parts of Africa. And that's another thing. They love to project this image of a big, dusty, mud hut Africa, where everybody's just ashy with flies and shit all over them. There's some beautiful parts of Africa, people. You guys do your research on Ghana, Nigeria, and I'm going to Ghana pretty soon, but there's beautiful homes, and there's cats over there getting money in Africa. It's not as broke and dusty as you think it is. But that's the image that they want to keep portraying. So you always see the philanthropists going over there. They walk in the village and everybody's walking up to them with their bowls out, with bowls and spoons, looking for something to eat. And the white person comes in as the savior. It's a whole production. All that is image. There's a reason why they show this. And that makes the United States seem compassionate to the cause of poor people. That's a whole hustle. Because what they don't tell you is the white-owned corporation that's in that country sucking up all the resources, putting people in that impoverished state. That's what they don't show you. If you want to look at the whole picture. So that's my whole thing. My thing is just really peep the game, understand why they do certain things and why certain images are put on television of the white savior coming in saving the poor, disenfranchised blacks. Because truth be told, there are many orphans in Eastern Europe. There's a lot of white kids that's hungry and they need to be adopted as well. Now, a lot of white families do, on the low, they do go and adopt those kids, but you never see the media show celebrities going over to Eastern Europe, because when they do that, or if they were to do that, that would destroy the image of white supremacy. See, you always have to maintain that white supremacy in the media. See, and I'm not one of those cats whose people will say, well, they find racism in everything. I just see it for what it is. If you understand the game, you can see why they put certain images out there, and you can process it in your mind, and you don't fall for the bullshit. Because when you fall for the bullshit, you start internalizing false inferiority and false superiority. See, a lot of black folks, you don't know the game, and when you see whites on television saving black folks, and you start buying into it, you start looking at yourself like, damn, we must really need help. You start buying this stuff. We can't do for ourselves. Because that's the image that they keep portraying, that black folks can't take care of themselves. You need somebody white to help you. You feel me? And not just in Europe, the orphans in Europe. There's a lot of kids, white kids out here. These crystal meth mothers out here in middle America having a whole bunch of kids. If you go to YouTube, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about this stuff. And there are a lot of BBC broadcasts, because I saw something recently on YouTube where the BBC, they tell the truth. They tell the real deal about what goes on in America and around the world. And they did a special about all the meth addicts in middle America, these white ladies having all these kids that you never see in the media out here. And there's a reason why you never see it in the media out here, because the image has to be whites on top, blacks on the bottom. So you guys have to understand how the game works. And this whole phenomenon of pet niggas is very real. And now there's a difference between house niggas, magic niggas, and pet niggas, because I've talked about house niggas on my show before. I did a show about magic Negroes. See, house Negroes are different. See, house Negroes are black folks who have been given a certain title or a certain position, and their job is to really keep an eye on other black folks to save whites, to kind of look out for whites. They're like spies for white folks. Those are what house niggas are. House niggas do the bidding for whites. Now, the magic Negroes, and I talked about that, how magic Negroes in movies are black folks who are not really black. They come from magical backgrounds, so this is why they're accepted within white communities or white circles, because they're black but not really black. And they have some type of wisdom that saves white folks, but it's not black wisdom because they're not really black. They're magic, like the movie The Green Mile, like The Legend of Bagger Vance, like Bruce Almighty, where Morgan Freeman plays God. He's not black, he's God. It's a whole psychological thing that goes on. And pet niggas are different from that, because usually the so-called pet niggas come from a disenfranchised background. Just like the TV show Different Strokes and Webster. See, those were pet niggas. Arnold and Webster, those are pet niggas. The movie Blind Side was a movie about a pet nigga. The pet nigga is docile, he's non-threatening, he's happy-go-lucky. And the guy who played in that movie, the character Big Mike, who played in Blind Side, he acted like he was retarded in the movie. I saw the movie on a plane, because I never wanted to see the movie, but I was on a plane, and when I was I'm on the first leg of my tour, they kept showing it on every airplane I was on, and I was damn near forced to watch this movie, and it was a generic ass movie. It definitely was not Oscar worthy, and I'm not hating. It was a story that was told over and over again, but it's one of those stories that makes white America feel good. It makes them feel liberal about race relations, just as long as they're on top and the blacks are on bottom. All the black people are on crack, living in the projects, and all the whites are rich in country clubs, just throwing money all over the place. And the character in The Blind Side was a pet nigga. The movie was about Sandra Bullock's character. Wasn't about the black dude at all. They tried to make it seem like it was about him. The guy wasn't even about this dude. The focus of the story was Sandra Bullock's character and how great she was to take in the lost wayward Negro, because his crackhead mom couldn't do it. And there's some black people who eat this bullshit up. I know white folks love it, but when black folks buy into this shit, there are a lot of black folks who buy into that nonsense. Now, with Sandra Bullock, recently, as you know, she won an Oscar, and right after the Oscar win, her husband, a guy named Jesse James, was having an affair. They found out that this guy was having an affair. And she's going through a divorce, and there's all types of crazy stuff coming out about this guy, saying that he might be a closet racist and all this. And the thing is, and this is what CNN contacted me about, we talked about that, and also we talked about a skit that I did on YouTube. I did a skit as when Sandra Bullock came out recently with this black baby, because a few days ago, out of nowhere, Sandra Bullock appeared on the cover of People magazine with this baby, this black baby, and she was like, "This is my baby. His name is Lewis. I had him for a few months and I love him." And it just seemed very strange. And if you know how the game goes, it's a PR move. I saw it for what it was. And I did a skit on YouTube called Interview with Sandra Bullock's Baby. Very funny skit. A lot of people liked it, but I caught some flack from it. And I'm going to play the clip in a minute. But the whole clip was really about the kid being in on the scam. And let me play that real quick. This is the skit, and you guys can check it out on YouTube also. It's called Interview with Sandra Bullock's Baby. Here it is. What's going on, everybody? Mac Lessons Radio Show, and this is your host, Mr. Tariq Elite, aka Tariq King Flex Nasheed. Now, Sandra Bullock has recently come out with photos of her and this adopted black baby boy. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is extremely random. Sandra Bullock said she adopted this baby a few months ago. The only thing we know about this baby is that he's from New Orleans. Some people are saying that this is a publicity stunt. Some people are saying that this is a PR move because Sandra Bullock is getting a divorce from her husband. And many people are saying that the husband, Jesse James, may be a closeted racist. So in an effort for Sandra to not appear to be guilty by association or racist by association, she has brought out this black baby boy in an effort to appear more liberal. So we don't know the real motives behind this PR campaign that Sandra Bullock is on, but we do have an exclusive interview with the baby himself. He's from New Orleans. His name is Louis, and we have the first ever telephone interview with him, and we're going to try to get the record straight right now. What's going on, Lou? How you doing, man?
What's happening, Wally?
What's going on?
This is this Louis Bullock,
right?
A.K.A. Young Diaper.
Young Diaper.
A.K.A. Pacified Pimp.
Okay, so what are you doing right now, Louis? Where you at right now?
Just chilling. Right now, I'm at Mom's house, just watching a little SpongeBob.
Okay, I feel you.
You heard me?
All right, what else are you doing?
Popping these baby bottles.
Popping bottles.
You feel me?
What are you drinking?
Ain't no formula up in these bottles either. You heard me?
What's in it?
Yeah, I make my own drink.
What kind of drinks you make?
I mix some Enfamil with Ciroc.
What do you call that?
I call it prenatal passion.
Okay, anyway, so now how did you meet Sandra?
So, how I met Moms, well, what had happened was I was hanging out in the NOLA.
In the Magnolia Project.
Yeah, hanging out in the NOLA.
Right.
And, just hollering at some bitches.
Okay.
Then I had decided to go over to the sandbox and play a little bit.
Yeah, they got a little playground area
So I'm
there.
playing in the sandbox. This white lady roll up on me.
Right.
And, I get a little nervous. I'm like, yo, you 5'0"?
Right.
Because I just caught a case.
Okay.
About a year ago, this bitch said I had jumped on her.
Okay.
But a year ago, I was a motherfucking embryo. I wasn't even born. I'm a baby.
Okay, go ahead with the story.
So,
go ahead.
She was like, no, I'm Sandra Bullock.
Right.
I'm an actress.
Okay.
She said, we need you. I need a black baby to help with some PR and some promotional business.
Right, because of the divorce and all that stuff.
Divorce.
Right.
My husband been talking some racist nonsense.
Jesse James, right.
They need me to take promotional pictures and just act like a happy family.
Right, I understand that.
I said, okay, that sound all good and dandy, but what's in it for me? Let a nigga hold something.
Of course.
I said, yo, what you gonna do for me?
Right.
She said, okay, we'll take you to Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
I said, okay, that's cool. I fuss with Chuck E. Cheese.
Right, I understand
fuss
that.
with Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
But what else you gonna let me hold? She said, okay, we give you toys,
right.
we give you a crib,
okay.
we give you a nice home.
Okay.
I said, okay, peep game though.
Okay.
I'm a baby.
Right.
I'm only a few weeks old though. I don't know much. I'm a baby. But I do know some bullshit when I hear it though.
Wow.
You heard me?
Right, I understand that.
You're gonna have to let me hold more than that though.
Right, I understand.
She said, okay, what you want? I said, let a nigga get a Bentley.
A Bentley? Louis, you're just a baby. What you gonna do with a Bentley?
Yo, you give me a booster seat and a cup of scissor, nigga, I show you how to hit corners around this motherfucker. You heard me?
Okay, anyway, thank you very much for the interview, Louis. Okay, that was Louis Bullock, Sandra Bullock's baby. Okay, there we go. And that's the interview. That's what I did. That's the skit that I had on YouTube. You guys can see that on YouTube. And a lot of people like it. Some people said, oh, that was so wrong. Sandra Bullock is America's sweetheart. And when I did the CNN interview the other day, it got a lot of responses. It was like the most popular blog on CNN for the day. It was like thousands and thousands of responses. And I got a lot of hate mail from people too. A lot of folks were pissed off. People were emailing me saying, well, Tariq, you're an asshole. I'm an adoptive parent. I have adopted kids and kids deserve a home. And there were some black females, surprisingly, who were pissed off. Like, Tariq is an idiot. Ain't nothing wrong with that baby getting a home. And my thing is this, people, we're having two different arguments here. There are two different arguments that we're having. I understand that Sandra Bullock adopted this kid months ago, even before the divorce. I understand that. That's cool. That's understandable. That's cool. She might be the greatest person in the world. That's cool. She might be a loving mother. That's cool. She might be America's sweetheart. That's cool. But let's look at the other side of the game. Her getting in People magazine, promoting this baby. Hey, look at me and my baby. That's a PR move, because let's look at the facts, people. Let's start looking at facts. Sandra Bullock won an Oscar. She's shining. This douchebag husband of hers, they find out that he's having an affair. Now they found pictures of this dude wearing Nazi clothes, acting like Adolf Hitler. There's a picture of him on the internet with a Nazi soldier hat doing a white power sign. Okay, if he's doing this as a joke, ha fucking ha. It's not that funny. But who does that? What douchebag does some shit like that? Not only is he up here doing this whole Nazi thing, he's having an affair with a female who has on the same type of Nazi gear. She has on a Nazi hat, and there's pictures of her with swastikas and shit. So it's not a far reach to say, okay, something ain't right over here. And Sandra Bullock is married to this dude? So naturally, anybody with sense, that's going to raise a few questions. And her people know this. The PR firm that reps her know this. So what are they going to do? They need to do some kind of damage control, because who knows if there's some other stuff going on out here with this guy that we don't know about. So what do? Out the blue, out of nowhere, here she is on People magazine with this baby. Like, hey, look at me and this black baby. Do you see what I'm saying? Am I digging in my ass for something that ain't there? This is a PR publicity thing. Not to say that she isn't a good mother and the kid don't need a good home. That's not what I'm saying. And even in the skit, because a lot of people were saying, well, the skit, oh, you shouldn't have said that. The whole comedy skit was about the baby being in on the hustle. Because it's a hustle. It's clearly a hustle. Even the baby knows it's a hustle. Because if it's all about just loving the kid and giving the kid a good home, just do that. Why are you doing a big publicity blitz for it, right? That's my whole thing, people. But people criticizing and all, people mad at me. I'm the asshole. She's married to this Nazi sympathizer and I'm the asshole. And now let's look at another aspect of the game, because a lot of people are like, well, just the baby's having a good home. The baby is going to be raised in a good home. That's the only thing that matters. But was this baby raised in a good home? Let's look at the facts here. A black baby in a home around an adoptive father who poses as a Nazi, is that a good home, people? Now, I know a lot of you black folks out there, a lot of y'all want to be pet niggas too. See, that's the thing. A lot of you want to be pet niggas. That's why a lot of these black women were criticizing me, because these are some of the comments that were being left on CNN.com. Some of these women were like, I'm an African-American female, I'm a black woman, and ain't nothing wrong with the baby being adopted. I wish I was that baby. That baby done came up. They were saying stuff like that because secretly a lot of y'all want to be the pet nigga. Y'all want to be the baby. Y'all want to be taken care of by white folks. You want white folks to come save you. That's why y'all won't say anything disparaging about anything that they do. It's almost like they're infallible in your mind. My thing is, game recognizes game. When I see some hustling going on, I'm calling it out. I don't give a fuck if it's Sandra Bullock. Not to say that I'm not saying she's messed up or none, but I know the hustle. I know the game. Okay, I know you love your baby, but I know you love your career too. And that's why you got that baby on People magazine to help save your career, because people are going to raise eyebrows that she was married to this fool over here. Y'all don't find that strange? A black baby up in the house with this dude doing this Nazi shit? Do y'all really do you know how the Nazis got down? We all know how the Nazis did with the Jewish community in Germany, but a lot of y'all don't know how these German soldiers got down in Africa too. Because the first genocide in the 20th century was not in Germany, it was in Africa. It was off the coast of Namibia. German soldiers went in there and they started wiping out certain African tribes. It was a place called Shark Island that those German soldiers occupied, and they used these islands, or they used Shark Island as a death camp for African tribes. You do your research on Shark Island, people, and you see how these German soldiers got down. So that whole Nazi German soldier thing, that shit ain't funny. If y'all want to get real serious about the game, because I was just making jokes, but if y'all want to get real serious, let's get into some of this shit. And then you worry about want to know why I call this shit out, because it's foul. Y'all have to know what's going on. That shit is foul. And my thing is, are these kids being taken care of, or are they being used as pet niggas? Just because somebody has money, that doesn't mean that they're being taken care of properly. Y'all don't know what some of these folks be doing to these kids out here. Some of these Hollywood folks are on some other shit that I would have to do a whole different show about. There's all types of stuff and rituals and shit that goes on with kids and these folks' kids out here in Hollywood. It's some other shit. That's for another show. But really do your research, people, before you open your mouths talking about, well, damn, that baby done came up. You don't know what's popping. Y'all don't know what's popping out here with these folks. And stop wishing to be a pet nigga yourself. Stand on your own 2 feet. Stop looking for white folks to save you. Because that's the thing. A lot of y'all, and I'm not talking to my players. My players know the game. But a lot of y'all want white folks to come along and just rescue you from the hood. You want to be Willis and Arnold Drummond. You want to be Emmanuel Lewis. You want to be Webster. You want to be Big Mike from The Blind Side. And when you think like that, you internalize inferiority. Because people have to help out those who are inferior to them. When I deal with anybody, white folks, anybody, I do business, but I don't take charity. And black folks, stop trying to take charity from folks. You should go out of your way to not take charity from white folks, because that puts you in a position of inferiority. You don't have to take charity from nobody. Deal with them on an equal level. We can do business together where there's a mutual respect, but as far as you giving me something from the kindness of your heart, no thank you. Learn how to say that. No fucking thank you. I got this. I'm going on a rant here. Anyway, and also with these adopted kids, I pop my collar to them. Again, I'm not complaining that these kids are getting adopted. I want these kids to get adopted. There's nothing wrong with that. But understand the hustle. I want these kids to get all they can. If I was one of them kids, like a Madonna's kids, the little African kid that she adopted, hell, if I was that little African boy, I'd go in that bitch's purse every chance I get. The minute she turns her head, I'll be clipping that bitch for hundreds. I'm not complaining that these kids are getting adopted. They need good homes. That's all good. But just understand how the game works. Understand the hustle. That's my only argument, y'all. Anyway, a lot of times when you have a lot of these celebrities, they adopt these black children. They go to Africa. And the question has always been an underlying theme. Are these people genuinely concerned about the welfare of these kids, or are they just getting them because it's trendy? And if that's the case, are these black people used as pet niggas? See, the concept of pet niggas has been around for a long time. Pet niggas were black people who were generally accepted in areas or neighborhoods or communities that generally did not accept blacks. Let me put my Mackin music on, y'all. All right, y'all. Anyway, today's show is going to be a doozy. We're going to chop up some good game. Had a lot of music going on at the same time right there, but it's all good. We're here. We're where we need to be. I want to talk about the concept of pet niggas. And I want to talk about this because I just did an interview with CNN talking about the Sandra Bullock adoption, and there was a whole thing. I'm getting a lot of flack because docile, somebody who was non-threatening, in many cases, somebody who was considered simple-minded or feeble-minded or not sexually aggressive. The black person had to be non-threatening. That's why it was either an older person or a very small child. And if it was a person who was a late teen or an adult, they had to be somewhat simple-minded. See, the thing is, as a whole, so what they would do, they would pick and choose certain blacks and have them as their pet niggas. So that's a phenomenon that's been going on since Reconstruction period after slavery. That's been going on for a long time. It was really prevalent in the Jim Crow era in the United States, the whole pet nigga phenomenon, because this is when everything was very segregated. And again, they would let one or two blacks through. They would like let a maid in, or they would have an old janitor, or they might have a child. But it was usually a pet nigga would usually be someone who was, because of the interview I did and because of a YouTube video I posted up, there was a little controversy about the adoption that Sandra Bullock had. She has, for those who don't know, Sandra Bullock, the actress, she adopted a black baby out of New Orleans named Louis. And some people think that it's a PR move. But I just want to talk about the concept of whites having blacks as pets. And the whole concept of pet niggas, because that's what it looks like.